Yesterday afternoon at Wittenberg University, two state semifinals for Division I boys volleyball took place. When the dust cleared, it was Thomas Worthington, the Cardinals, who got the victory in 3 sets over New Albany, and it was St. Ignatius, the Wildcats, who got the 5-set victory over the St. X Bombers in a rematch of last year's state championship matchup, which brings us to this, today, the first of 2 state championship matches. This one in Division I for the Ohio High School Athletic Association has Thomas Worthington's Cardinals and the Wildcats of St. Ignatius get set to do battle. With Jackie Klein, my name's Chris Solecki. Thanks so much for joining us from Pam Evans Smith Arena in Wittenberg University. And Jackie, we saw these two teams yesterday. We saw a lot of high-flying, big-hitting team from both of these guys, but we also saw really strong fundamental volleyball from both teams.
Yeah, their volleyball IQ is really high. They know how to play the game. They know how to use the toolbox that they have, especially in offense. So we're going to see some tips. We're going to see some roll shots. And the coolest one is when they hit the ball hard off the blocker's arms and it goes flying either into the stands or all the way to the wall.
For St. Ignatius, the guy that we would talk about first almost always is number 4, Jack Reagan. He's a junior. He's committed to playing at Ohio State. But yesterday we saw guys like Overberger and Rossetti and Schaefer and Van Ginkel and Broby. They are a very complete team, and you can get a hit coming from almost anywhere on the floor.
Yeah, and shockingly, I fully expected Jack Reagan to get a lot more sets than he did. But Broby did a great job of distributing the ball throughout his offensive system. And truly, Jack Reagan left the match yesterday with 49 total attempts, but his counterpart, Ethan Rossetti, got 44. So that's telling you right there that the outside hitters are doing their jobs. Spreading out the offense is Broby's job, and it's really fun to see him bouncing around out there doing his jump setting.
On the other side, Thomas Worthington, we talk a lot about Dylan Johnson and JT McGuire. One of them is a middle blocker, one is an outside hitter, both prolific. But you also have to look at a guy like Kurt Buddy, who played great yesterday. Drew Barnes, who's the libero, who played great yesterday. Another team that is very, very balanced, and you can find the ball coming from anywhere.
I think balanced is a great word. They talked about being really consistent. That's kind of their goal and their philosophy, sticking to a solid culture, making sure that the team is really bonded. They actually have the Cardinal standard that we'll talk about later, but they follow and remind over and over again that throughout the match, we need to stick to the standard of keeping our culture a certain way. Really, they're just a solid team. We only saw them in a 3-set match, but JT McGuire is definitely their foundation, and you're going to see him play across the back row and the front row. I think he only came out in a serving situation last night.
The officials for this contest include first referee Mary Black, second referee Shane White, line judge Tim Boyer. The other line judge is Lawrence Walden. The official scorer is Mike Chandler, and his assistant is Debbie Keller. The game yesterday between St. X and St. Ignatius was epic. Five sets, back and forth, really close. The other one, as you mentioned, was just a 3-set matchup. Do you worry at all about St. Ignatius coming out flat after such an emotional win yesterday?
No, I think they're ready for this. Actually, I think they've been ready for this since they lost last year. They started preparing right away, really focusing on, fixing some of the holes that they had last year, and they filled them with players that are taking control of their jobs and their roles, and they really are, firing on all cylinders.
The players are being introduced on the floor right now. We'll have the national anthem just momentarily. While we're waiting, Jackie, having seen these two teams yesterday, what's maybe a key from each of them that you would like to see? Maybe a quick start. What is the key for Ignatius? What is the key for Worthington?
So I actually think that Worthington, if they watched yesterday, they're going to come in with a game plan of throwing in some off-speed shots. St. Ignatius' weakness is they have trouble picking up those balls. So I think they're going to experiment there. I think St. Ignatius truly needs to continue to spread out their offense. However, we talked earlier before we came on the broadcast that maybe they're going to get Reagan more balls today because he really is very physical for this team. And those balls coming hard and fast are hard to dig even if you are in the right position.
We've got a tremendous atmosphere here at Pam Evans Smith Arena, Wittenberg University. The two teams are about to shake hands. But I think we're going to do the anthem first. Yeah, everybody's going to go back. We're going to reset. And we're all going to stand and do the national anthem. Then they'll go to the net and shake hands. So we're going to stand with them and step aside as the national anthem is played and sung here at the arena. These teams, many of the players were singing the national anthem as they went along. Sparky Anderson is famously quoted as saying, "We honor the national anthem by not singing it," but I love that these guys are out there singing it and being a part of the patriotism and the celebration of all things good here at the state championship matchup. The two teams now shaking hands, doing it the right way after the national anthem, and we are just about set to get underway. If you're listening to us on the OHSAA radio network, the Cardinals are wearing blue jerseys with red numbers outlined in white. They have Cardinals across their back beneath the numbers. And then they have red shorts with blue kind of paint splattered look there to them. And the libero has a white jersey with red numbers outlined in blue. And again, Cardinals on the back. For St. Ignatius, they have white jerseys, gold numbers outlined in black. St. Ignatius across their chest with their numbers on the front and the back. And their libero wears a black jersey with gold numbers outlined in white. Again, St. Ignatius across the front, numbers on the front and the back. Jack Reagan, 6'7" junior, committed to Ohio State. He's going to have a big matchup today. But so too will the supporting cast, including number 11, Craig Schaefer.
And both squads have gentlemen that are committed to go to the next level at the collegiate level. JT McGuire committed to North Greenville. Dylan Johnson committed to Wentworth Institute of Technology. So these guys are not only playing for their schools, but you know that they're in the off season taking advantage of playing club volleyball, making sure that they're getting faster and stronger in the weight room, getting ready not only for today, but for their next adventure.
St. Ignatius will serve first in set number 1, and to the serving line goes number 1, their setter, Andrew Broby. After Broby serves, we'll introduce you to the rest of the Wildcats. The official blows the whistle. Broby's toss, and we're underway. And that's an ace right out of the chute for Andrew Broby and St. Ignatius. He's joined on the court by number 4, Jack Reagan, number 5, Christian Aguirre, number 10, Henry Van Ginkel, number 11, Gavin Schaefer, number 13, Ethan Rossetti, and number 34, Will Overberger. Those are the starters for St. Ignatius. We'll get you the starters for Thomas Worthington here momentarily. Second serve coming from Andrew Broby. He serves middle, received, back row set, or backside set, I should say. Good reception by Aguirre to the outside. Reagan's first swing. Into the block and out. That'll be a point for St. Ignatius. They're up 2-0.
Big block in front of Jack Reagan, though, so you can definitely expect that the Cardinals are going to commit on him until they prove otherwise. That was a tool. The ball hit off of the arms of the Cardinals and went out of bounds.
Set to the outside. Big swing down the line, and that's good off the arm of J.T. McGuire. McGuire is joined on the court by the Cardinals with Noah May, number 6. Number 10, Alex Giamporanis. Number 11, Kurt Buddy. Number 12, Dylan Johnson. Number 14, Drew Barnes. And number 16, Alex Ondo. To the serving line, number 6, Noah May. May serves down the line, received by Reagan. Quick one in the middle. Good dig. Outside, up, big swing, blocked. Kept alive though, tight to the net. Good set to the outside, set to the back. Broby, set to Jack Reagan. Down the line, out of bounds, but we have a net violation called against the Cardinals. So the ball will come back to St. Ignatius. They lead it 3-1.
Both teams look comfortable. I think yesterday we saw a little bit more nerves coming from these guys, but getting used to the arena, it really isn't that large. It feels a little bit bigger than most high school gyms, but definitely comfortable on both sides.
Huge swing by Dylan Johnson. He hits it off the block and out of bounds, so the point goes to Thomas Worthington, and the serve comes back to the Cardinals.
Coming into the tournament, Dylan Johnson was leading his team in kills. He's a middle blocker, and typically they get less sets than the outside pins, and so he is a major part of their offense.
Entering the match and going to the serving line is Shaw for Thomas Worthington. Good dig. Set to the outside, beyond the antenna. Good job adjusting. Set to the near side. Up, off the touch. Schaefer was there, but the swing by J.T. McGuire, his second kill. And the teams are tied at 3.
That's something that these teams work on in practice, is looking for hands, taking advantage of fingers that are, available, trying to swipe off of the block. So we're going to see a lot of that today.
Quick one in the middle, tossed across, good dig. Outside, McGuire again. This time it's blocked. Broby, back row, Jack Reagan off the touch. Set near. Quick one in the middle, handled well. Out to the outside. Big swing off the tape and out of bounds as it hit the antenna. So the point goes to Thomas Worthington. They lead it 4-3.
You're seeing great rallies. These rallies are going on for a long time. That means first ball contact is a big deal for both of these teams. They spend a lot of time working on serve reception and defense to keep the ball alive.
Samrot with the serve, set to the outside. Another big swing by McGuire. This time he tried to cut a little too much, couldn't clear the tape, so the ball goes back to St. Ignatius, tied at 4, and Christian Aguirre goes to the serving line. Aguirre wears number 5. He's the libero. Serves middle back. Quick one in the middle. They try to keep it alive. It's off of Aguirre's hand. Good swing. I didn't see who was the one who got the swing. I'm kind of blocked by the stanchion here.
Yeah, Dylan Johnson was able to get that out of the middle. In the first 5 points of every set, the setter is told to get the middles involved, establish them, make sure that the other team and the defenders are prepared and have to keep their eyes on the middle, because otherwise they'll release early.
Oliver Marker enters the match, and he's at the serving line for the Cardinals. Set to the outside, off the touch, and down. Good swing by number 13, Ethan Rossetti.
He did a great job of handling that ball. Broby set that a little bit further off the net than is normal. It landed about the 8-foot line in the air for him, and he was able to kind of almost jump backwards to deliver that ball in, but he looked for fingers along the way and got a piece of them.
Rossetti, 18 kills and 44 attacks yesterday. That one's going to be tight to the net. They send it to clear. Overberger got up, and this time he turns and he hits it down. Leaning the wrong way that time was J.T. McGuire. Overberger gets the point. St. Ignatius has the lead, 6-5. Adam Swiatowski. Set to the backside. Good swing off the block. Goodness gracious. Dylan Johnson with a huge swing.
And he swung on the right side. That was a higher ball back to him. It wasn't the typical set that you see going to a middle attacker, and he handled that very well.
Drew Barnes approaches for Thomas Worthington. Broby with the outside set. Rossetti. Second ball swung. Swiatkowski keeps it alive. Back row to Jack Reagan. He'll just send it across. Set to the near side. Up, big swing. Off the touch, Swiatkowski can't handle it. And the point goes to Kurt Buddy. And Thomas Worthington retakes the lead 7-6.
We said Kurt Buddy's name a lot yesterday, and he does a great job of taking advantage. Broby's a little bit shorter despite the fact of his hops, so it does give him a little bit more room to attack down the line.
Service error that time by Drew Barnes, so the ball comes back to St. Ignatius. Into the serving line, Ethan Rossetti, number 13. Rossetti serves middle, set to the outside. Up off the touch. That was Buddy with a swing. Broby, back row, Swiatkowski. Good dig by Semraj. At the net, it's a joust. And Jack Reagan will dink it across and find an empty spot. Over JT McGuire and in front of the back row.
What a fun rally, seeing Ando go up and joust for that ball and win as a setter. Jack Reagan, he's got all the power in the world, but took advantage of just that little soft set over to find the open court.
Broby to the outside. Reagan, big swing. It's in. He sent it to the deepest part of the court from where he was, the very back corner, and found it just inside the line.
So the rules are the line is inbounds. So if the ball hits any part of the line judge is going to call it in. Obviously, anything that's outside of that line is called out.
There's a missed set intended for JT McGuire. He either jumped too early or the set was mistimed. Either way, Ignatius now has a 3-point advantage, 10-7. Rossetti serves the middle. Another tight one at the net. McGuire sends it over. Back row. Back row violation as number 13, JT McGuire, is across the line, and a timeout taken by the Cardinals. They trail it 11-7.
So let's talk a little bit about that violation. JT McGuire's coming from the back row. He's attacking the ball, but he is not allowed to jump in front of the 10-foot line to attack that ball. He can contact the ball in front of the 10-foot line, but his foot must take off from behind the line, and what happened there is his foot touched the line while he was attacking.
It's very close, and we saw yesterday a number of players flirting with that 10-foot line, but if you stay behind it, you can land in front of it as far in front of it as your leap will allow, but you've got to start behind that line. That's what happened there.
And in men's volleyball, they're really trying to test the limits there. How close can we set it to the net, and you have to hang and try to get to it.
Well, it helps when you're 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", with a big wingspan. You can do that a little bit.
Definitely.
So out of the timeout, back to the serving line is Ethan Rossetti. Rossetti on a 5-0 scoring run for St. Ignatius. His team leads by 4, 11-7. Good elevation on that one. Ano in the middle. And tossed down. Nicely done that time by number 6, Noah May.
And that was that off-speed shot that we talked about at the beginning. Ignatius has a little bit of trouble with those things, so A, they need to communicate about it and make sure they're ready, but that would be something I would experiment with a little bit more if I were the Cardinals.
Alex Ando with the serve. They get the ball over to Reagan, and Reagan finds that back corner again. That's twice he's hit that spot to perfection.
And that's a tendency that the Cardinals need to pay attention to. Is it going to go cross? Does he have a line shot? Maybe they need to readjust how they line up their block.
Will Overberger to serve for St. Ignatius, the Wildcats. Quick one in the middle. That's May again. 2 points in a row for that young man hitting it off the block, Noah May.
And they took advantage of an off-speed shot, roll shotting down the line to the corner. So definitely something to make note of.
Kurt Buddy to the serving line for the Cardinals. Serve middle back. Broby, quick one in the middle, off the touch. High pass, outside, what a swing. Goodness gracious, JT McGuire.
Let's welcome JT McGuire back to the front row. He's gonna get the next ball, I'm assuming too, but that was wide open, then that cross-court shot for him.
Worthington now down by 2, 12-10, huge swing. To the outside, Reagan takes something off of it and puts it right in the center of the court, sometimes known as that campfire area.
Yeah, smart shot by him. He's been going cross court for the past 2 or 3 balls, swinging hard and fast. Throwing in that off-speed shot definitely caught the defenders on their heels.
Number 11, Gavin Schaefer checks in for St. Ignatius. Andrew Broby to the serving line for the Wildcats. He serves off the side of the arm, but it stays in play. It's going to be a back row free ball across. Aguirre, Broby to the outside. Reagan winds up. Hits it hard, but it's dug. Tight to the middle, gently across. Broby, second ball to the near side. Schaefer into the block. Broby keeps it alive. Great dig to the outside. JT. And they're going to keep it alive. It's still in play. Unbelievable, but that pass is just too long. The rule is, again, if it plays on your side and you've got another hit, you can go ahead and play it. That ball was above us, so it was above this table, but the officials let it go.
They did. It hit actually a divider net in the gym that is rolled all the way up to the ceiling. Bounced right back, perfect position, and unfortunately the point was ruled out of bounds.
Reagan with a big swing. Back set by May. That's kept alive. Ando. May to the outside. Big swing, too strong. No touch, and St. Ignatius gets the point. They lead by 3, 14-11. Jack Reagan back to the serving line. Reagan with a good toss. He's got a howitzer for a right arm, I'm telling you. Nothing that can be done there. That was overplayed by Drew Barnes. He had us back to the court, was trying to angle it, hit it too far. So Reagan again, his team leads by 4. Still in the first set, 15-11. Ignatius leading Thomas Worthington. Division I state championship. Reagan off the tape, that's an ace.
If you could do that every time, kind of like hockey players who can fight really well get paid more, you'd get paid a lot of money to be a server that could hit the tape and make it dribble over like that. That's an awesome play.
Now a 5-point lead. Reagan again, big toss. And that one's too long. We saw that from him a little bit yesterday. He had some long serves, but as you pointed out, that top spin jump serve or that backspin jump serve, sometimes it goes out, but it's a risk reward kind of thing.
It is. It's a ratio of aces to errors, and usually an error is because they're swinging so hard, so fast, that it always goes long.
Anav Samrat at the serving line. Broby sets it back. Schaefer into the block. Reagan keeps it alive to the outside, into the block again. That one coming off the arm of Rossetti. Back row, Reagan. Off the touch, Samrat to the outside. JT off the block and down. Point Cardinals.
St. Ignatius blockers are jumping really high, and so JT McGuire is taking advantage actually of that hang time, hitting the ball into their hands and kind of forcing the ball to come down with the blockers as they land.
McGuire with the reception, quick one in the middle. Kept alive by Barnes. Quick one there! Another big swing. That one by number 12, Dylan Johnson.
Dylan Johnson running the 31, which is a quick set, but it's about 10 to 15 feet away from the setter. It's actually a really hard ball to connect with your hitter on. It's important that he stays open. It is exactly textbook how he ran that.
Broby to the outside. Rossetti, too strong. We've got a touch called by one of the line judges, though. So the ball goes back to St. Ignatius. They lead it by 3, 17-14. Christian Aguirre to the serving line for the Wildcats. And now Ignatius. Aguirre with the toss. Received in the back, tight to the net. Keep it alive. I'm not going to be able to get it across, though.
Sometimes as a setter, when you're front row, which Ando is right now, you want it tight because it gives you options. You can attack, but that was a little bit too tight, couldn't handle it.
Aguirre to the back. Ando outside. JT too strong. No touch. And the point goes to St. Ignatius. They lead it 19-14, and a timeout taken on the floor by the Cardinals. So the Cardinals haven't shown a a wavering of confidence. They just keep coming back. They keep playing hard. But what's the thing that's going to put them over the top and get them back to that tie score perhaps before this first set is over?
I think they're feeling a little bit of pressure coming from the service line. Okay, they're having a little trouble with their serve reception. Also, JT McGuire and Dylan Johnson seem to be getting the majority of the sets. So that's going to be a little bit easier for St. Ignatius to capitalize on maybe committing and blocking them. Ignatius is spreading out the offense still. I don't think it's as clean as yesterday, but it doesn't mean that they won't clean it up. And these two teams, they met each other in the regular season too, and actually Thomas Worthington took them down in 3.
Yeah.
So, but when Thomas Worthington played St. Xavier, they lost. So it's really a toss-up here because St. Ignatius took them down yesterday.
To your point, Dylan Johnson and JT McGuire together have 20 attempts in attacks so far in this first set. The rest of the team has 10, so they have 2/3 of the attacks. Out of the timeout, Aguirre to the serving line. Quick one, and that's down. Good adjustment, good play by number 12, Dylan Johnson. So the serve comes back to the Cardinals. They trail 19-15. And it's number 9, Oliver Marker to the serving line. Marker had a couple nice runs yesterday from the serving line. Very consistent. Here he floats one back left. Quick one in the middle. Overberger up and down. Great set by Broby, and Overberger finishes.
It's fun watching these guys celebrate. They all come together in a huddle, and it's like the guy who scored is like the pinball. They just keep pushing him around and getting excited, and that's kind of a new thing in the game of volleyball. Over the past few years, people have been kind of physically pushing each other and pumping each other up. It's really fun to watch.
Swiatkowski at the serving line. Good reception in the back. Back set. What a swing, and that's out. Just missed it. Great swing by Dylan Johnson, but he couldn't keep it between the lines. The point to St. Ignatius, who now leads by 6. Swiatkowski again. Outside. Into the block, kept alive. Great job by the Cardinals. Broby, back set. Overberger. Samrat to the outside. Gently tossed across, but Swiatkowski's there. Back row, Reagan. And he finds a spot in front of Samrat for the point.
Textbook roll shot. He went up, he opened his shoulder big to look like he was gonna give it all he got, and then turned his hand, rubbed his hand along the back of the ball, causing that ball to spin more than normal at a slower speed.
Good swing in the middle by Johnson, but it's received. Pushed down the line, Samrat comes up with it, and they try to keep it alive. Broby goes up and sends one home. Broby not known for that.
I actually think that ball was gonna go out of bounds, and he went up, he's skying it, like probably 2 feet off the ground, and said, "This is mine," and he hit it anyway.
Ignatius 2 points from taking set number 1. Swiatkowski serves middle back, that's Barnes. Back set. Johnson down the line, that's a point for the Cardinals. Nice swing by Dylan Johnson.
He has scored there twice now. Both times he has come to that position. So that's definitely something that Ignatius needs to take note of and remember that when he's back there again.
Drew Barnes with the serve. He serves Swiatkowski. Broby keeps it close, and he and Overberger don't quite connect. The set was a little high, or Overberger was a little soon.
Little misconnection. Overberger was a little tight and close to the setter, so it just makes that room for error a little bit smaller.
Barnes serves the back. Aguirre comes up with it. Broby and Overberger again, and this time it works.
I love the trust coming from Andrew Broby. Let's try it again. Let's try something different. That's exactly what you want to see and feel as a hitter. You want your setter to trust you, and that means he's going to do the work for him.
Set point for St. Ignatius. Rossetti. Second ball high set. Way up, but way out off the arm of Kurt Buddy. And set number 1 is in the books. St. Ignatius knocks off Thomas Worthington 25-17. Set number 2 on the other side of this timeout. Stay with us. More championship volleyball to come. You're watching the OHSAA Boys State Volleyball Championship for Division I on the NFHS Network. Second set just in front of us from Pam Evans Smith Arena on Wittenberg University's campus with Jackie Klein. I'm Chris Solwecki, and Jackie not only is a great analyst for state championship volleyball, but she's also the owner and co-founder of the Elite Volleyball Training Center associated with League One Volleyball. Tell me how things are going over there at Elite Volleyball.
Yeah, the world of club volleyball is continuing to grow, both for girls and for guys, and it's really fun to see it morph year to year, showing that the youth are able to get involved even earlier. If you have a son or daughter that is interested in getting involved in the game, it's really fun. We'd love to see guys get involved even sooner, introducing them to the game more at the 12-year-old level instead of just at the high school level.
Now, I asked you this yesterday, and because I asked you, I'm guessing other people would ask the question as well. What can you do with 12-year-olds? I mean, they're not above the net like these guys are. Yeah,
they lower the net a little bit. They use a lighter volleyball, but they still play the same game, and the big thing is just teaching them the skills, and it's a big game of don't let the balloon hit the ground, and so, you know, it's a fun game, bonding with your teammates, developing a little bit of the structure within different positions, and learning that early helps a lot more before they get to this stage.
So if folks are looking for Elite Volleyball Center, do you have a website or a way for them to reach you?
Sure, www.elitevbtc.com.
There it is, www.elitevbtc.com. Second set underway. And to the serving line for Thomas Worthington is Kurt Buddy, number 11, trying to get things started on the right foot for the Cardinals. Good serve received by Aguirre on the back row. Broby with the back set. Jack Reagan off the tape, but it does not clear. So the first point goes to Thomas Worthington.
His first hitting error of the day. So that's not normal for him. So it was a unique situation. I'm sure he'll get the ball again.
Aguirre with the reception in the back row. Reagan again, this time gently tossed. Great dig in the back by Drew Barnes. JT sends it across. Buddy into the middle, trying to keep it alive. Back set. Into the block, they still keep it alive. Barnes, oh my goodness. Cardinals really working hard to not kill each other. And there's a big swing by Jack Reagan. Barnes had fallen down over here by the official's ladder, and one of his teammates came flying over his head, almost kicked him.
They seem to be okay. They're laughing about it, but it did affect them getting back to their blocking roles, and so that resulted in Reagan being able to get that kill.
Reagan to the serving line now. Good serve, but a good reception. Quick one in the middle, tossed across by Noah May. Schaefer, the lefty, sends it across. Barnes backside. JT dinks it. It's going to be tight at the net. Broby tries to bring it up, and he can't do it. The ball goes off the bottom of the net. Instead, the point goes to Thomas Worthington, as does the serve with number 6, Noah May, stepping to the serving line. May skips forward, floats it. Reagan comes up with it, tight at the net and up and over. That's number 13, JT McGuire, to get the kill.
That's a smart serve. He targeted Reagan and forced him to actually pass short. He knows that he struggles a little bit with that movement of out of system. We'll see if he does it again.
This time he serves Aguirre. Sit to the backside. Schaefer up strong. Comes across. Reagan can't dig the second ball, and it becomes another point for Thomas Worthington, who comes out hot in set number 2, leading 4-1.
Blocks always result in a huge momentum shift, especially if there's this point spread here. So they need to take advantage of that momentum staying on the Cardinal side.
Broby to the outside. Rossetti off the touch. Great dig sent across. Broby gets it in the air. Aguirre, now Jack. Coming from the near side, JT. Dug out by Aguirre. Broby outside. They're going to call a double on Broby. 5-1, Thomas Worthington on top in set number 2. Noah May on a 4-0 scoring run. Broby to the outside. Rossetti right into the block. Goodness gracious.
That is a big block in front of Rossetti.
Number 2, Finn Rubin was the man on the spot, I believe.
Yep, and then Dylan Johnson right there next to him getting the assist.
That one clears the tape just barely. Broby with the back set. Schaefer with the left hand. right down the line and inside for the point. Nicely placed by Gavin Schaefer.
Both teams are doing a good job from the service line of limiting their errors. There's only been one service error for each team in this match so far.
Christian Aguirre to the serving line for St. Ignatius. Back row. Hondo in the center. Oh my goodness. What a swing.
That one-on-one opportunity for Dylan. He took advantage of that. Seeing the open court right in the corner. Hard and fast.
That's Johnson's 7th kill on 12 attacks, 2 errors. And now it'll be Anav Samrat to the serving line. Outside, Rossetti. Dug up by Samrat. Near side, very tight. They battle on a joust. It's out of bounds, last touched by Schaefer. The point goes to the Cardinals. They lead it 8-2.
That's showing JT McGuire's seniority. He's been in this game for a long time as a senior. Went up for that joust and swiped his hands out of bounds, forcing that ball to be tooled off of Schaefer's hands.
Schaefer into the block and down. That was a really good swing by the lefty. Maybe the best clean swing we've seen him have in 2 days.
We saw him do some good things yesterday. It's hard to line up your block around a lefty. Sometimes you really got to remind yourself to set up right. And so if you go too far, he's going to take advantage of that hitting cross court.
Adam Swiatowski comes to the serving line for St. Ignatius. That one's tight. Sent across off the block, though. Great job in the front. Oh, and they don't have a touch. I thought for sure there was a touch, but obviously the officials have a better angle than I do.
Well, from my angle, I thought there was a touch also, but maybe it was just missed. And these guys are going to respect the ref's decision and move forward.
So Swiatowski gets the point. St. Ignatius trails 8-4. Second serve by Swiatowski, handled. Quick one in the middle. Back set, Swiatowski from the back row. Good reception, but it's an overpass. Overberger, Reagan, outside to Rossetti, down the line, it's out.
A little bit forced by Rossetti. That is an out-of-system set. It's an awkward angle, and he forced it down the line instead of just clearing the ball, getting it inbounds.
So now Oliver Marker goes to the serving line. 9-4. Thomas Worthington has the lead here in set number 2. Aguirre comes up with the ball. Broby, quick one in the middle. Overberger puts it away.
That's a really smart decision as a setter. When the game doesn't feel like it's going your way, instead of keeping to going to your pins, get your middle involved. Speed it up a little bit. See if that throws a little chaos to the other side.
Worthington leads at 9-5. Rossetti with his second set, and that one's hammered down right in front of him. Dylan Johnson.
Dylan Johnson's on fire. He is excited when there's only one blocker in front of him. It gives him a lot of options, and you can see that because he's hitting both directions on the court.
8 kills on 14 attacks, only 2 errors for Johnson. Overberger sends it gently across. Great adjustment high in the sky that time to take it gentle off the block and let it just dribble down the front of Thomas Worthington.
Overberger will serve number 34.
Will Overberger, the senior for this St. Ignatius team, goes to the serving line. Serves the middle back. Quick one in the middle. Ando, good set. Off the touch. Swiatowski got his hands on it. The point goes to the Cardinals, as does the serve.
When the middle's working, you just keep setting it. Despite if Dylan Johnson's in or not, the middle's working with both of them, so continue to set those quick tempo balls for the Cardinals.
Ando with the left-handed serve, sends it to the back row to Swiatowski, into the block. They're gonna run it again. Ando with the jump set, outside, big swing, hammered down, that's Buddy.
So when you run the middle a lot, the middle blocker on the other side has to stay and pay attention to them, and that opens up pins, which is exactly how the Cardinals are being a little bit more offensive than we saw in the first set.
Timeout taken by St. Ignatius. Thomas Worthington leads at 12-6. So I need to ask, first set, second set, what's the difference? Thomas Worthington seems to be an almost different team here in set number 2.
I guarantee they went back to their Cardinal standard. So we talked earlier about that. They actually sat down with Jim Tressel, former Ohio State head football coach and talked about their culture. And they came up with the Cardinal standard. And that is something the coaches said that they continue to go back to. So cheering on your teammates, having a great time, keeping everybody accountable to what their roles are. Those are the Cardinal standards, and you could see that the energy changed from set 1 to set 2, and I guarantee that that's exactly why.
Well, and that accountability is so important, and that comes from your senior leaders. And we have seen McGuire and Johnson come out with a fire here in this second set, among others. Out of the timeout, Ando back to the serving line for Thomas Worthington. His team leads by 6. The lefty serves, Jack Reagan. Broby, middle play. Hit into the block. Noah May was there to send it back off the right arm of number 10, Henry Van Ginkel. This time Ando serves too strong, and the ball will come back to St. Ignatius. They trail 13-7. Andrew Broby to the serving line. Broby yesterday, just unbelievable. Setting the ball, 125 efforts, 58 assists. There's one that goes into the block and comes back on Thomas Worthington's side. And Henry Van Ginkel was at the center of that block. Broby again for St. Ignatius. They trail by 5. The jumper received in the back row by Barnes. Quick one. May goes up and hits it. Broby receives. Set to the outside. Schaefer. They got to keep it alive, and they can't. Good job by Schaefer.
The nice part about having a left-handed right side hitter is those out-of-system sets are easy for him. If you were to set a right-handed hitter on the right side, a ball like that, it's awkward and weird. So that gives you multiple options in an out-of-system set scenario.
Ignatius now just down 4. Broby again. It's an ace. Barnes watched it all the way to the line, but it dove right in front of the line. And Ignatius now trails by only 3. Broby on a 4-0 scoring run. That one is too long, just too long. 14-10, Thomas Worthington has it. Kurt Buddy to the serving line. Buddy attacking his 2 kills on 7 efforts with 1 error. No service aces today, but it's a pretty good serve, and there's a service error for you.
He actually dropped his thumb like you do when you hit in the front row, and that just threw him off a little bit.
The idea was right, but he couldn't keep it inside the line. So now Jack Reagan to the serving line. Big toss, big swing. Good dig by Barnes. Set to the outside. That ball was blocked, and it was hit so hard by JT McGuire that it went beyond the entire Cardinal defense.
Now it's important that Jack Reagan can take care of this ball. Keep it in bounds. Be interested to see how he handles that, because he put a lot of speed on that last one. Hopefully he keeps speed on it now.
He sure does. Barnes digs it. Bumper to the near side, gonna be really tight. The joust. There's Rossetti. The block off Rossetti's head, but Aguirre keeps it alive. Free ball across by Broby. Quick to the net. Outside, JT. Goodness gracious.
Noah May did a great job in the middle of holding that block for St. Ignatius, leaving JT McGuire with a one-on-one, big hole between the blockers. Great job, Noah May.
And now May at the serving line. He serves Reagan. Set to the back row, and Aguirre has to come and send it. A little miscommunication there. They do clear it. That's going to be an overpass, though. And now we've got a net violation called against the Cardinals.
So he did his best to not go under that net, but his entire foot actually ended up on the other side of the center line. That's what the call was, a center line violation.
So now St. Ignatius has crawled back into this. They trail by 2, 15-13. Aguirre serves the back. Quick one. JT, goodness gracious, that kid is swinging like crazy. Reagan got his arms on him, but he couldn't elevate. JT McGuire now 9 kills on 23 attacks. He does have 5 errors, but he is hitting the ball hard. 16-13. Thomas Worthington on top. Anav Samrat at the serving line. Quick one. Overberger right back. Will Overberger. And now Swiatowski comes in, replacing Gavin Schaefer. He goes to the serving line. His team trails only by 2. They were down by as many as 6. Quick, blocked and down. The point to St. Ignatius.
Rare error for Dylan Johnson. And actually, I think it was a misconnection, but he actually cut it a little bit too short and didn't even clear the net.
Swiatowski looks to tie it up here, and he airmails it instead. Didn't get on top of that one, and it went well beyond the back line, so Thomas Worthington has a 2-point lead after that serving error, and to the serving line for the Cardinals, number 9, Oliver Marker. Marker, a serving specialist. He serves Aguirre. Broby, back set. Swiatowski down the line, dug up by Barnes. Set to the near side. Buddy goes high. Another bumper to Buddy. He's going to hit from well off the net. Reagan receives. Overberger gets blocked. Aguirre with the bump to the outside. Rossetti into the block. Reagan keeps it alive. Broby outside again. Rossetti again. Barnes. Free one across. Reagan. Broby, quick one by Overberger. Trying to keep it alive, and he can't do it. Barnes ends up on St. Ignatius' side after diving under the net.
We love rallies like that. We were talking about before we started our broadcast that we really hope that that's what the match looked like today. It really does make it really entertaining to watch.
Rossetti with a good serve. Buddy comes up with it and gives it right back to Buddy. Now they're going to try to keep it alive. Swiatowski from the back row does just that. Buddy again has to navigate the antenna and does so. Outside, Reagan tosses it off the block, and that ties the match up at 17 apiece.
What a smart play. He actually made the ball, hit the blocker, and swiped it on purpose and brought the ball back to the antenna, resulting in the point for St. Ignatius.
Rossetti serves Buddy. Quick one in the back, into the block. Dylan Johnson has it sent back. And Ignatius has the lead, 18-17, and the Cardinals are taking a timeout. You just kind of felt it. They kept crawling back in, kept getting a little bit closer, and St. Ignatius is taking advantage now, in part because they have very stout net defense.
So you can go to statistics, but if there was a statistic for energy and culture, right now all of that's over on St. Ignatius' side. They are screaming for each other, getting excited, and it's important that after this timeout they come out with that exact same energy to keep it on their side.
Ignatius hitting .246 for the match. Thomas Worthington just .136, so defense has ruled the day. Each team has 3 service errors. Ignatius has 3 aces. All the other stats are pretty similar.
Thomas Worthington is putting up a great block, but St. Ignatius is covering. Covering means that the defenders are coming in expecting their teammate to get blocked and able to keep it from hitting the floor, and that's been really working to their advantage.
Out of the timeout, Rossetti back to the serving line. There's one outside to Buddy, who puts one home. We are tied at 18. Big swing by Buddy. And now it'll be Drew Barnes to serve for the Cardinals. Barnes serves Reagan. Broby, quick in the middle. Overberger. Into the block and down. Frustration on the face of Noah May.
So the block on the Cardinals side wasn't pressed over enough. They didn't use their core enough to push their hands to the other side of the net, and so that's what happened when Overberger hit their hands. It actually dribbled down the front of their body.
Set to the outside, Buddy, big swing, it's down. Kurt Buddy has been big these last two chances to break serve and get the ball back for the Cardinals. We're tied at 19.
2 kills right in a row. I expect him to get the ball once again, just because you don't want to stop setting your hot hitter. You want to keep giving it to him until the other team stops him or he stops himself.
Ando served Rossetti. They set to the outside. Reagan, he was blocked, and St. Ignatius can't keep the ball alive. 20-19, Worthington.
Worthington is just committing out to the outside, making sure that they get 2 blockers, even 3 in front of Reagan.
Back row, Swiatowski, right through the hands of Ando. The point goes to Ignatius, and we are tied again. This time at 20.
Smart set by Broby, getting that ball to the pipe, or they call it a bick usually because it's a little bit faster, but that was a higher ball to the back row attack.
Andrew Broby serving for St. Ignatius. Send it short. Barnes with an overpass that gets dunked down by Jack Reagan. 21-20. Wildcats lead the Cardinals in set number 2. An opportunity to take a commanding 2-0 advantage in this match. Broby into the net. A serving error. We're tied again at 21.
So now this becomes a 4-point game. They have to win by 2 points. And so if they continue to side it out, it'll become a deuce situation at the end where somebody has to score 2 points in a row.
Dink across. Ando covers it. Back set. Up high. JT hits it, but it's partially blocked. This is going to be an overpass. Great job by JT to win that joust. Broby back set to Reagan. Down the line. Barnes can't handle it. The point goes to Ignatius. They lead 22-21.
And usually we see Reagan on the outside pin, but when he is in right front, he stays there, and that becomes really hard for the Cardinals to defend.
So Reagan to serve now. His team leads by 1. They need 3. Barnes with the dig. Outside, tight to the net. That's going to go out of bounds.
Okay, interesting call here. So JT McGuire came under the net. That's the ultimate call, but he did a great job of tooling the block. So, but the referees are always going to err on the side of safety. Anything that's under the net, they're going to call as a center line fault.
Good dig by Barnes. Aguirre comes up with it. Broby with the back set. Schaefer into the block. Comes right back. Broby again. Back row. Jack Reagan. Into the net.
The right play just set a little bit too far behind the 10-foot line. Reagan was hoping for that to be led in front of the 10-foot line a little bit and had to actually change his approach, resulting in the error.
23-22. St. Ignatius leads. Noah May to the serving line for the Cardinals. Reagan, Broby, Schaefer into the block and straight down. A combo of Johnson and McGuire get that block. Tied at 23. Noah May. If he can get 2 more points, his team will win and tie it up. Otherwise, we'll have a seesaw battle for who knows how long. Rossetti, Broby back outside to Rossetti. Right down inside the corner. What a swing.
Broby is actually purposely setting Rossetti a little bit off the net. Why? Because he's got a big block in front of him, and he's doing a great job of almost hitting that ball up and around, taking advantage of hitting the lines deep.
Aguirre with the serve. Barnes with the reception. Tight to the net. That one's into the block. Got to keep it alive. There's a bump by Ando outside. JT into the block and down. The point goes to St. Ignatius. And they win set number 2, 25-23, and go up in this match 2-9. Holy mackerel. 25-23, St. Ignatius takes set number 2. Set number 3 on the other side of this timeout. Stay right there, more to come. Championship volleyball from Wittenberg University on the NFHS Network. Campus of Wittenberg University with Jackie Klein. I'm Chris Solecki. Sets 1 and 2 both went to St. Ignatius. 25-17, 25-23. And so now Thomas Worthington has their work cut out for them. They have to win 3 in a row in order to come back.
Thomas
Ignatius has done it.
Worthington is having a little bit of trouble with serve receive. Thomas Worthington. And so that's definitely something they're chatting about right now in that huddle. They need to take care of that first ball contact to make sure their offense can be a little bit more effective. St. Ignatius is doing a great job of covering their hitters. So if there's a big block in front of them, they're taking advantage of making sure the defenders are behind that block and keeping the ball from hitting the floor. Rossetti took a big ball to the face right at the end. He's actually chatting about that with his teammates right now because they put up a triple block at the end. The ball actually hit his eye as he was up in the air, but he seems to be doing okay. He's back on the floor. His coaches talked with him a little bit just to make sure that he was feeling okay and ready for this next set.
He's a gamer, he's out there. He's wincing and blinking, not wincing, but blinking a little bit, but he'll get it. St. Ignatius, led by Jack Reagan with 22 attacks. Schaefer, Rossetti, Overberger have all had had double-digit attacks. All hitting positive numbers.
We talked about how they played each other in the regular season, and Thomas Worthington took St. Ignatius down in 3. Now, coming into a match where you have to play each other again, sometimes there's a little bit of revenge that you want to get as if you're on St. Ignatius' side, but there also may be a little bit of comfort coming from Thomas Worthington going, well, we've played these guys before, we took them down, but actually, I think they're feeling a little bit of pressure now that there's 2 sets to 0.
Well, there's Noah May, who picks up a point. And the ball comes back to Thomas Worthington, leading 1-0. Noah May to the serving line. He skips forward, sends it to Aguirre. Rossetti, second ball. Reagan, gentle across, dug up, sent across. Broby to Aguirre, out to Reagan again. Reagan into the block and down. Good job by JT and Johnson.
That's a hard ball to hit. So we talked earlier about this. Reagan is right-handed, and so that out-of-system set that's coming over to the right side has to travel across his body, and if it's not pushed far enough, it's really a hard ball to attack.
Gonna call a double on Aguirre there.
Now, uniquely, Schaefer is left-handed and is right now on the left side pin, so if the ball were to be set to him out of system, it would also be hard for him.
This time, Jack Reagan makes the difficult look easy. Big swing, gets the point, and gets the serve back for his team.
Both teams are doing a great job of keeping their service errors low. Thomas Worthington at 3 service errors for the match, and St. Ignatius only at 4.
Now 5 as Reagan serves that one too long. 4-1, Thomas Worthington on top.
Going on serve for Thomas Worthington, number 7, Anav Samrat.
Anav Samrat comes into the match and heads to the serving line for the Cardinals. He wears number 7. One of a couple serving specialists for the Cardinals. And that one, Rossetti, looked like he had the yips a little bit. His feet moved, everything happened on that play.
So let's talk a little bit about serving specialists. In the high school game, they get 18 subs, and that's pretty darn close to unlimited. It's really hard to use all of those, but in the college game, they only get 6, and in the Olympics, they only get 6, so they get that opportunity to throw more athletes in serving sub situations.
Rossetti hits that one a little too strong. The ball comes back to the Cardinals. They lead it 6-1. Samrat serving a third time here. He serves Rossetti again. This time he receives. Broby, back row set to Jack Reagan, who hits it into the net. Timeout taken by St. Ignatius. Now this happened in set number 2 as well. Worthington got out to a big start, and then Ignatius climbed their way back in.
Ignatius is just not connecting. That's all it is. It's not that Thomas Worthington's really necessarily stopping them. It's just a little bit of mishits, a little bit of errors that they need to dial back in. Now, let's talk about the Cardinals because they are really on top of their energy. They came out strong. They're rushing the referee, getting back quickly to serve, and so that really does put the momentum on their side.
7-1, Thomas Worthington on top in set number 3. They trail in the match 2-0, so they have to run the table in order to get a championship to take home to the Columbus area. For St. Ignatius, they just need one.
What they're looking to do, the Cardinals need to do what's called a reverse sweep. They have to win 3 sets in a row in order to take the match. And it's been done. We saw it in the NCAA women's tournament this year where Penn State came back after Nebraska had already won 2 sets, and they came back and did a reverse sweep and then ultimately came back and won the entire thing.
Schaefer mishits it, sends it down the line. Another point for Thomas Worthington. 2 years ago, we saw it happen right here as Olentangy Liberty went up 2-0, and Mollers from Cincinnati came back and had the reverse sweep, winning 3 in a row. Anav Samrat continues to serve. Off the net, Rossetti comes up with it. Quick one in the middle, too long. He got a touch. So that one came off a touch. The ball goes to St. Ignatius, and it'll be Christian Aguirre to serve. 8-2, Worthington on top. Aguirre floats it forward. Good reception, tight to the net. Outside, JT, it's in there.
He got lucky there. There were no blockers in front of him, and he tried to do a little no-looky cookie, and it barely hit the line.
No-looky cookie, I like it. Oliver Marker to the serving line for the Cardinals. Another one of those serving specialists for Thomas Worthington. Tight one at the net. Broby with a one-handed set and Overberger.
Woo! Broby held that block. He jumped with all his might and used that one hand just to tip it back to his middle. Overberger was there in perfect time, open and ready to swing with that hard-driven ball.
Swiatowski to the serving line for St. Ignatius. Good reception by JT. Set to the outside. Buddy. And it hit the antenna, so that'll be a point for Swiatowski. 9-4, Worthington on top. Swiatowski, big serve. Barnes comes up with it. Short one. Wide, out of play, no touch. So Swiatowski now helping his team climb back in. It's 9-5. High toss, big swing. Barnes comes up with it. Ando sets Buddy. Broby outside. Rossetti sends it down the line. Outside. Buddy again into the block and out of bounds this time. Good job tooling the block. He gets it back.
That takes a lot of skill to see those hands, and it does help a lot that these guys are jumping really high and having some hang time. So they are actually able to see that and tool it purposefully.
Barnes with a good serve went straight through the hands of Swiatowski. So Thomas Worthington's lead now 6, 11-5 here in set number 3. Barnes again, serves Swiatowski again. He comes up with it. Broby outside. Rossetti makes the adjustment, sends it inside, and it comes down in front of Anav Samrat.
And that was a hard set for him to hit. It was actually on the 12-foot line. We talked about Broby's probably purposely setting him off, but that was a little bit too far.
Rossetti with the serve. Quick one. May goes up and hits it, dug out by Rossetti. Bumper to the backside, Jack Reagan. Off the touch, Barnes. Ando. Buddy. Down in front of Swiatowski.
JT McGuire's in the back row right now and passing really well. But when he passes, it takes him out of the offense and puts a lot of pressure on Buddy. And Buddy is doing a great job of taking that ball and handling it very well.
Alex Ando to serve for the Cardinals. Swiatowski receives. Second ball, Rossetti, and Reagan sends it across. Outside, tight. Buddy gets blocked and it's down. The point goes to St. Ignatius. Overberger is there for the block.
Feels good as a setter when you're front row and you get your hands on that ball like Broby just did to be able to block that. He did a great job of pressing his hands back into the middle with Overberger there to help.
Overberger to serve. Sends it to the middle. Ondo outside. Buddy into the block, but out of bounds. He uses the block of Van Ginkel to his advantage, and the point comes to the Cardinals. So now Buddy goes to the serving line. Buddy on the attack today. 7 kills in 19 attempts. JT tries to dink it across and nothing doing. Van Ginkel was there to send it right back down.
Yeah, that's an oops. He didn't mean to do that. He should have given it a little bit more altitude there, getting it over the block and not right into their hands.
So Andrew Broby to serve. 13-8. Worthington has the lead. Ondo outside. JT down in, just in that back corner. Found that spot.
Thomas Worthington. Going back to serve for the Cardinals, number 6, Noah May.
So Noah May steps to the serving line. A 6-point advantage for the Cardinals. May sends it short. Reagan keeps it alive. Broby sends it across.
Oh no.
Set. JT. Good dig by Broby. Aguirre keeps it alive. Back row Rossetti sends it across. Tight. Out. Oh, JT again. He uses the tape. Makes it off speed and it falls in for the point.
Major miscommunication that happened there over on the Wildcats side. Reagan wanted to switch to the outside, tried to communicate mid-play to get Schaefer to switch back to the right side, and then they ended up stuck and no blockers were up.
Aguirre, Broby, back to Reagan, cuts it across, it's out. That's a tough swing, especially as you talked about, a right-handed hitter on this near pin, and he still almost made it work.
Right, it's kind of like basketball when your coach says just keep shooting, it'll eventually go in. You just gotta keep swinging, and unfortunately some of them will go out of bounds, but not that one.
Reagan gets the point that time off the touch. 16-9, Thomas Worthington leads, and Jack Reagan, probably to the delight of Thomas Worthington, is in the back row. He's at the serving line. High toss, big swing into the net. Reagan seems to be a little frustrated with himself. 17-9, Thomas Worthington leads. Anav Samrat steps out and onto the court to serve for Thomas Worthington. Skips forward, serves Rossetti. Back set, Schaefer into the block and down. And there's JT and Dillon. McGuire and Johnson with the double block.
And that's a big, smart block that's right in front of Schaefer. They are seniors. They have been playing this game for a long time and understand how to line up on that left-handed attack.
And now Aguirre with a serve reception error, just went off his arms and straight back. The point goes to Thomas Worthington, and the timeout is taken by St. Ignatius. They trail by 10.
This is a smart timeout. The Wildcats need to talk about a few things. When you make errors in this game, the worst thing you can do is turn your back on your teammates. So they have to continue to make eye contact with each other, talk through their roles, make sure that they keep each other accountable. Because some of these are not big mistakes, they're super little and can be dialed back in.
Both teams still in their huddles. The Cardinals have found a gear that they didn't have in sets 1 and 2. And they have a 10-point advantage over the Wildcats. That's the good news if you're a Worthington fan. The bad news is you're already down 2-0, and you've got to sweep the next 3. Ondo comes out of the huddle, jumping up and down and screaming. High-fiving his teammates. St. Ignatius walks out onto the court, ready to do work. Anav Samrat steps back to the serving line for Thomas Worthington. Samrat gets the whistle, the tall toss. Serves Aguirre. Broby outside to Rossetti. And he finds a spot to the left of Samrat. And that'll be a point for St. Ignatius. And Christian Aguirre will go to the serving line for the Wildcats.
It's important that the Wildcats can keep the ball on the service line. They need to really make sure that they don't make any serving errors for the rest of this set.
That was a late decision by Buddy. He should have let it go. Instead, it went off his fingers and backward, and that'll be a point for St. Ignatius. They trail by 8. Aguirre to serve it again. Barnes outside. JT into the block. And immediately JT had a question.
We just had a little bit of a celebration that happened forward towards the other team. Schaefer got a big block, and you know, we've gotten big blocks before, and it's just really emotional. But it's important that they turn around and celebrate with their own team and not toward the other team.
This time JT with a big swing. It's dug by Aguirre, but he hits it into the antenna, so that point goes back to Thomas Worthington. They lead it by 8, 20-12. I think that's the thing that's impressed me with Thomas Worthington here in set number 3 is they haven't allowed Ignatius to get 4 or 5 points every time they serve. They've broken serve a little more quickly this time. Oliver Marker to the serving line. He serves Rossetti. Back to him. Samrat couldn't dig it out.
Broby's doing a really good job of fixing some of the location issues that he was having. So he has dialed that ball to be set a little bit closer to the net, but still giving Rossetti those choices and not putting him too tight in front of that block.
Adam Swiatowski to serve for St. Ignatius. He serves Burns. Outside, Buddy, up and down. It hit Overberger and Broby, but it rolled on their side of the net, so the point goes to Thomas Worthington.
Buddy taking advantage of that block. The block wasn't set correctly. They weren't pressed over far enough, and he saw that and took advantage of tooling those hands.
Drew Barnes with a serve. He serves Swiatowski. Quick one in the middle. Overberger gets blocked. Broby, back set to Swiatowski. Back row. Too long, or we got a touch. And so the ball comes back to St. Ignatius as Rossetti goes to the serving line. Noah May chatting up the referee number 1. Rossetti serves JT. Outside, Buddy off the touch. Swiatowski did everything he could, but couldn't get the ball elevated quite enough. 22-14, Worthington on top. Alex Ondo to the serving line. Swiatowski comes up with it, but it's an overpass. Set. What a swing. Way to keep it alive by Rossetti. Aguirre sends it to the back row. JT set to the end, into the middle. That's May. Second ball, third ball. Overberger. No, they're going to call it 4.
Oh, wow. I'm not sure. I counted 3. We'll see.
Jack Reagan and Rossetti pleading their case to the official. And she stands by her call of 4.
So I had to take my headphones off to try to hear what they were talking about, but she's going to go ahead and stick with that call of 4 contacts, and we're moving forward.
Jack Reagan says we'll get it back some way or another, and he took matters into his own hands with that big swing.
So the Wildcats are probably not going to win this set, and they probably know that. But it's really important that they do a few great things here at the end to make sure they can carry the momentum into the next set.
Will Overberger to serve. Dug up. Buddy into the block and out of bounds. That's a point for the Cardinals, and now it's set point for Thomas Worthington. Kurt Buddy to the serving line with a chance to put his team in the win column with regard to sets. Buddy swings. Rossetti digs it. Outside, Reagan. huge swing. Big point. St. Ignatius says we're not done yet.
St. Ignatius, the center will go on serve. Number 1.
Now Andrew Broby to the serving line. 24-16, Worthington with the lead. Broby serves middle back, Barnes. JT with the second ball, sends it all the way across. And an antenna violation. The second ball hit the antenna, so the point goes to St. Ignatius.
Set point for Thomas Worthington.
Thomas Worthington still has set points, even though the serve is coming from Andrew Broby. The Ignatius setter with the toss and the swing. Quick one in the middle off the touch, and that's going to be the point. Noah May finishes off set number 3. And Thomas Worthington gets their first win of this championship match. They still trail it, though, 2-1 as we head to set number 4. That on the other side of this timeout. Stay with us. Championship volleyball continues from Pam Evans Smith Arena at Wittenberg University right after this timeout. You're watching OHSAA Division I Volleyball Championships on the NFHS Network. St. Ignatius took set number 1, 25-17, and set number 2, 25-23, but Thomas Worthington storms back in set number 3, taking it but 25-17, which brings us to this, the 4th set of a best of 5 in this Division I Ohio High School Athletic Association State Championship match for boys volleyball in 2025. With Jackie Klein, I'm Chris Solwecki, and Jackie, look at these numbers, and there's still a lot of consistency, a lot of similarities between these two teams, and really it just comes down to headspace. Who's got momentum, who's playing with confidence on either side of the net.
So Thomas Worthington was able to get a major service run in that last set. It just created a big point spread, and St. Ignatius wasn't even able to tie it back up throughout that last set. Now, there is some things that the Wildcats have to focus on, and that is when Kurt Buddy is in the front row, the blocking technique needs to be a little bit more refined. They need to be pressing over and pushing back into the middle of the court because he has recognized that weakness and has been tooling the block, which has resulted in his hitting percentage jumping up to 304 because out of the 23 attempts he has had 10 kills and only 3 errors.
And he stands at the serving line for set number 4. He serves Aguirre. Back set to Jack Reagan. Trying to dig it out, can't do it. The ball goes off of Buddy and off of the antenna. The point goes to St. Ignatius, and the serve comes their way as well. Jack Reagan will serve.
In the timeout or between sets, I guarantee that St. Ignatius says we're not going to even mess around anymore. Jack Reagan has come out with a little bit of an attitude and is ready to get kills, whether he's in the front row or the back row.
Back set. Good swing, but good dig on the other side as well. Aguirre keeps that one alive. Bumper to the near side, gonna be tight. Good job by JT to get it across. Now we've got a joust, and that's out of bounds. So Van Ginkel got the touch, but he couldn't keep it in play. The point goes to Thomas Worthington, and the serve comes back to the Cardinals with Noah May. May with 4 kills on 8 attacks, only 1 error. He's hitting .375. Broby outside, Rossetti into the block. Reagan keeps it alive. Second ball across by Van Ginkel. Set to the outside, JT down the line off of Broby for the point.
The Cardinals are doing great at making sure they just stay consistent and composed. We're seeing the Wildcats getting a little bit outside of their roles, trying to just keep a ball in play instead of trusting their teammates around them and communicating.
May skips forward, serves Aguirre in the back row. Broby to the outside, Rossetti from well off the net. Kept alive by Ando. Free ball across by JT. Reagan, Broby in the middle. Van Ginkel kept alive for the moment and underneath the net. Set to the outside, off the touch, they still play on. Ando, near side, JT into the block and out of bounds. Point, Cardinals.
So we saw some of the Cardinals come under the net, but they traveled under the net outside of the out of bounds line, so it wasn't a fault, and that's why they were able to play on. Now, we are going to have a conversation about it, though. Reagan's coming over and talking about that. Between you and me, we had a pretty good vision of this, and I did see an athlete's head touch the net. Now, you're not allowed to touch the net even if it's out of bounds, but that's a really hard call for that up ref to make. The line judges aren't allowed to help with that call, and the down ref, which is completely on the other side, that's also a pretty far distance for him to make that call.
Noah May serves it out of bounds, so the ball goes back to St. Ignatius. Worthington has a 3-2 advantage. Christian Aguirre serves Barnes. Ondo to the outside. JT tosses it across. Broby with the second ball. Aguirre will send it as a free one. Dylan Johnson.
The Cardinals have a double weapon right now. Johnson's in the front row. JT McGuire is in the front row. And so the Wildcats really have to communicate on who's going to get the ball, and those fast 31s are hard to pick up.
Anav Samrat to the serving line. He serves Reagan in the back. Quick one in the middle. Overberger off the touch. That'll be a point for St. Ignatius, and they get it right back. Overberger, 10 kills on 15 attacks with 2 errors. Swiatowski to the serving line now for St. Ignatius, and he serves it into the net.
Unfortunate service error, but if you're going to make a service error, do it at the beginning of a set, not at the end, because it's easier to make up, and that momentum can shift quickly.
Here's Oliver Marker. Skips forward and serves Reagan. Broby, quick one in the middle. Overberger. That one's lifted by Barnes. Quick one to the near side, off the net. Nope. No touch. Out of, oh, there is a touch.
Oh, wow.
I was looking at the line judge, and he didn't have it, but one of the other officials did.
You're right, and actually the up referee made that call because that contact happened right in front of her, so it's an easy call for her to make.
6-3, Thomas Worthington with the lead as Marker continues to serve. Serves Aguirre. Broby to the outside. Rossetti into the block. Reagan keeps it alive. Broby can't get there.
Just a little bit of a miscommunication, plus a momentum of their body. Transitions happen. It's hard to change going one direction to go back the other to help the setter, and maybe they didn't even hear that he needed help.
Worthington off the tape. Overbarger sends it over, and then off the touch. That's Dylan Johnson.
That's that weird we talked about yesterday. There's either good plays, bad plays, or just weird ones. And usually it's about 80% of the time that you have to just stick an arm out and keep it alive, and that's exactly what happened there.
Marker again. Reagan. Broby, quick one. Overberger sends it to the back row. Marker digs it. Tight, no, sent over on the second ball by Ondo. Reagan from the back row. Samrat comes up with it. Tight, another tight one, looking for a joust, and they can't get it across. Overberger got a handle on it, but couldn't send it across the net. That's a 4-touch. And a timeout taken by St. Ignatius as Thomas Worthington has opened up a 6-point lead, 9-3.
We're seeing some serve reception issues with the Wildcats right now, communication issues. So if they're in this timeout, they're talking about just settling back down. These athletes need to stay in their roles. Realistically, they're doing a triangle movement. They're blocking, they're transitioning, they're coming in. And so as a coach, I'm constantly reminding my athletes to stay in their triangle. Don't end up in somebody else's and trying to do their job. Now, the Cardinals are staying very consistent, staying to their roles, making sure the serve goes in, causing a little bit of pressure by serving those seams, and that is putting a lot of pressure on the Wildcats right now.
Here early in set number 4, Thomas Worthington has 5 kills with no errors. St. Ignatius has 2 kills and 2 errors. Ignatius has swung 5 more times, but Thomas Worthington 5 kills on 10 swings with no mistakes. Oliver Marker back to the serving line. His team leads by 6 in this 4th set. 9-3. Marker serves Swiatowski. Quick one in the middle. Overberger sends it across. Barnes. Buddy. Jack Reagan can't dig it. Is that going to clear? It is. Trying to win the joust. Sent across by Buddy. Broby. Back row Reagan. Gentle across. What great finesse by Jack Reagan.
And he was early and the set was high and he knew what to do and make sure that went in, and he saw that open court in that campfire area. We talked about that quite a bit yesterday. The center of the court is where 5 people have to really communicate about what's going on, and sometimes they get stuck watching it just like when you're out camping and at the fire.
Samrod played the second ball there and put it too close to the antenna. Buddy couldn't do anything with it except send it out of bounds. So Ignatius and Rossetti trying to climb back into this thing. Bumper to the near side. Buddy almost falls as he hits the ball over. Broby outside. Reagan off the touch. Dug out by JT. Good job by Johnson to keep that one alive. Swiatowski. Aguirre. Broby. Free ball across. Barnes, Ando to Johnson in the middle. Dug up. Battle at the net. Broby won that one, but we're still in action. Buddy to Swiatowski. Outside, Reagan. Kept alive by Samrod. Back set. Buddy off the touch and down. Buddy, it looked more like a reverse layup than a hit, but he threw it off of Broby's arms and out of bounds.
And we talked about when Buddy is in the front row, Broby and Overberger have to do a better job of pressing over, and they did up until that 3rd try. And I don't know if it's fatigue or just a mental thing, but they got to continue to press.
Drew Barnes with a serve. An overpass almost was devastating for St. Ignatius, but they kept it alive. There's Buddy. What a swing. A great set by Ando, and Buddy absolutely destroyed that ball. Barnes to serve it again. 11-5, Worthington on top. Aguirre. Broby. Reagan from behind the 10-foot line. It's touched. Ando sets. Buddy into the block. Kept alive by May. Right back to Buddy. This time down the line and good.
Cardinals are purposely setting the outside pin every single time to try to capitalize on the fact that Broby's 5'9". He's jumping high, but he's just not high enough to stop that ball every time.
Aguirre. Overberger ends up being blocked, but it keeps alive. Outside to Reagan. Gentle. Barnes comes up with it. Ando with a second ball. It's received in the back row. Reagan, big swing. He sends Barnes to the ground with a titanic piss.
Barnes is doing a great job, though, on the Cardinals side of just getting ready for that cross-court shot, because that is Reagan's tendency to go ahead and send that ball hard and fast cross-court.
Overberger to serve. Worthington leads it 12-6. There's a dig, tight to the net. Buddy. That one's dug by Rossetti, and we have a net violation called against Van Ginkel. So the point goes to Worthington, and the serve comes to Alex Ando. 13-6, Ando with the left-handed serve. He serves Rossetti outside. Here's Reagan. Big swing just past Barnes. Reagan looks like a man on a mission. He is focused and hitting the ball with a laser-like precision.
And the Wildcats have nothing to lose here. They need to get the ball to Reagan. They need to keep setting him over and over again and let him make choices. Swinging hard or throwing a tip has been working for him, so keep getting him the ball.
Ando with a good set. It's returned and right in. What a great play by Aguirre. Probably not how they drew it up, but the ball hit Aguirre so hard that it cleared the entire defense and landed in the back left corner. 13-8, Thomas Worthington on top. Broby serves it again, this time into the net. So now Kurt Buddy will go to the serving line. Buddy now leads the team with kills with 15. Serves this one to Reagan. Broby, back set to Reagan. Cross court and down, point for St. Ignatius, and they get the serve right back.
So now Reagan has rotated to the back row. He's serving right now, but that takes him out of that front row offense. So Broby needs to continue to keep him involved somehow, which means he's got to be really smart about maybe setting both pins and then throwing in that back row attack in transition.
Free ball across for the Cardinals. Broby, back set, Schaefer, cross court, and he missed it. It's a good idea. Wanted the touch, didn't get it, and the ball ended up in the Thomas Worthington bench. 15-9, Worthington on top. Noah May with the serve. Aguirre, Broby, back row, Jack Reagan, wide, no touch. 16-9, Thomas Worthington. Noah May continues to serve for the Cardinals. Rossetti, Broby, quick one. Van Ginkel into the block, and it comes right back at him. Point Cardinals. Timeout taken by St. Ignatius. Their second.
The Cardinals are doing a great job of staying consistent, staying composed. We don't see them getting super emotional other than when they're celebrating after the play is done. They're over-communicating with each other also. But one thing that I've been really noticing is they are serving tough from the service line, but they're not making errors. They're not going back there and trying to get aces necessarily. They're going back there trying to create chaos. Serving seams, serving short, trying to get the ball in the lap of Jack Reagan so that it takes him out of the offense.
Only 4 service errors for Thomas Worthington in the match. St. Ignatius with 8. Out of the timeout. Noah May back to serve for the Cardinals. His team leads it 17-9. They need this set to push it to 5. May skips forward, sends it to Aguirre. Broby outside, Rossetti off the touch, down the line. That's a point for St. Ignatius.
Now, the Wildcats have to capitalize from this service line. They can't serve it so easy that it's a free ball, but they have to keep the ball inbounds for them to have a chance.
Christian Aguirre with the serve to Barnes. JT goes up high, but it's blocked. Overberger in the middle, sends it home.
So now they need a run. They need to get 2 or 3 points in this rotation and then get it right back if there is a side-out situation.
That one goes out of bounds, man, ducking out of the way. Broby goes, or excuse me, Buddy goes down, as does Barnes, in order to make sure that ball doesn't touch them. Anav Samrat comes to the serving line for Thomas Worthington. 7-point lead for the Cardinals. Samrat skips off the tape. It hit the antenna.
Which is a rare service error for him. We saw him get a run of points multiple times in his time here, even at the state tournament. So that is a unique situation for him.
Adam Swiatowski to the serving line. Number 8, one of the seniors on this team. High toss, big swing. Received by Barnes. Outside, JT, soft over the block and down.
Smart set by Ando, because he noticed that Broby is now front row, and that has been their game plan, is trying to set over him. And JT McGuire is just too smart. He knows how to handle that situation.
Oliver Marker to the serving line. Still a 7-point lead for Thomas Worthington, 19-12. Off the tape, Overberger comes up with it. Broby, back set to Swiatowski. Good reception in the back row by Marker. Close side, Buddy. off of Aguirre. They keep it alive. Back row, Reagan. Off the tape. They keep it alive. Barnes sets it back. Buddy into the block and down. That's a point for St. Ignatius.
Broby really dialing in that technique. He made sure that his outside hand pressed over and towards the middle of the court, resulting in that stuff block.
19-13, Worthington on top. Rossetti to the serving line. Ethan serves Buddy, who sends it across. Reagan pounds one off of Barnes and into the crowd. A little momentum coming the Wildcats' way. They still trail by 5, 19-14.
Now, the Cardinals should be a little bit nervous because Reagan just got into the front row. He has 3 rotations here to score points, and if he can stay consistent, he's going to be a major threat.
Quick one in the middle, but they can't keep it alive. Aguirre got his hands on it, but nobody could get to the second ball. 20-14, Worthington with the lead, and to the serving line goes number 14, Drew Barnes. Barnes with the toss in the swing. Swiatowski comes up with it. Outside to Reagan, very high. Right off of Samrat.
He's shaking his head. It's just so hard to dig. And actually, you said it was a very high set. I actually like that. Let's keep it simple, giving our hitters options, and that's how Broby's thinking right now. I'm just going to get it in the right location, making sure that they have the option to hit line or cross.
Overberger serves an ace, and St. Ignatius trails by 4, 20-16. Will Overberger, another one of the seniors for this St. Ignatius team. Where's number 34? The toss, the swing, out of bounds. Samrat gets out of the way. 21-16, Thomas Worthington with the lead. Alex Ondo to the serving line. Coming back into the match is number 2, Finn Rubin. Ondo with the toss. He serves Rossetti. Broby outside. Too long off the arm of Jack Reagan.
The Cardinals serving to Ondo, making sure that that the Wildcats are out of system, forcing the ball to go to Jack Reagan.
This one is to Reagan as well. He pounds it down the line, dug by Ondo. Barnes keeps it alive. Free ball by Buddy. Swiatowski. Broby outside, Reagan again, off the touch. Barnes again, back set to Buddy. Buddy, cross court, out of bounds. St. Ignatius gets it back as Broby goes to the serving line. Thomas Worthington 22, the Wildcats 17. Broby gets the whistle. There's the toss. Back row, JT comes up with it outside. Buddy, it's down, it's in. Just inside the line. 23-17, and Buddy to the serving line for the Cardinals. Buddy serves Reagan. Broby back to Reagan, who pounds it down the line and in. Sweet swing by big number 4.
Now with Reagan back serving now, he's in the back row, and I think Broby still's got to get him involved. But that definitely gives the advantage over to the Cardinals because JT McGuire is now front row and able to attack.
Barnes with a dig outside. There's McGuire. Trying to keep it alive. Van Ginkel sends it across. Barnes, Ondo, JT. Jack Reagan keeps it alive. Broby outside. Rossetti into the block and down. The point to St. Ignatius.
He really handles those balls that are off the net really well. The location he likes is a little bit tighter, but he's not scared to take a swing and try to tool a block.
Timeout taken by the Cardinals, their first of this 4th set. They still lead it 23-19, but St. Ignatius starting to crawl back into this thing. Thomas Worthington wants to end this now and send it to a 5th set.
And everything's on the line for Thomas Worthington right now, but St. Ignatius has nothing to lose right now. If it goes to a 5th set, they're still in it. So I think they need to really focus on passing a good ball, not trying to do anything too fancy. Keep the game simple, but Thomas Worthington, they have got to get the ball to JT McGuire and let him make choices. Dylan Johnson's in the front row. He has also done a great job of staying consistent. So they've got, it's a really fun match. So let's see what happens here in the next few points.
This can be said for both teams that they came to play today. They are playing hard. Their stars are playing like stars. Role players are doing their job as well. Jack Reagan back to the serving line. His team trails by 4. Reagan looks to bite into that lead right now with the toss and the swing. And he serves it into the net. Now it's set point for Thomas Worthington, 24-19. Noah May at the serving line for the Cardinals. May into the net as well. Tried to serve it really short. So now Christian Aguirre goes to the serving line for St. Ignatius, 24-20. Thomas Worthington leads. This is still set point for the Cardinals. Aguirre. Barnes comes up with it. Set to the outside. JT off the touch and down. And Thomas Worthington takes set number 4 and ties this match at 2 sets apiece. And Schaefer is limping his way to the St. Ignatius bench. We want to keep an eye on that for sure. The coach for St. Ignatius says they were under the net. But that call was not made and won't be made now. 2-2. We go to set number 5 after this break. Stay there. So much good volleyball still to come on the NFHS network. Set number 1 and set number 2 went to St. Ignatius, 25-17 and 25-23. Set number 3 and set number 4 went to the Cardinals of Thomas Worthington, 25-17, 25-20. It comes down to this. Set number 5 to 15 for the state championship of the Ohio High School Athletic Association Division I Boys Volleyball League. The championship is on the line with 1 set to play from Pam Evans Smith Arena at Wittenberg University in Springfield, Ohio. With Jackie Klein, I'm Chris Solecki. We are so glad you're with us. And Jackie, doesn't get any better than this.
You're
set
right.
5 for the championship.
We're in a 5th set. That means we go to 15 points, must win by 2. It used to be at 8 points, you would switch sides, but that doesn't happen anymore post-COVID. These guys are going to play a short 5-point games, 3 of them in a row to try to get to this championship.
Big swing, and the first point goes to Noah May and the Worthington Cardinals.
The Cardinals bench is just erupting. They have brought the energy, and it is so important to have that because it carries over onto the floor.
May with the serve, he serves Jack Reagan. Reagan, not a great play, but Broby is able to save it. Quick one in the middle, JT off of Rossetti, 2-0 Cardinals.
This is what I expected from the Cardinals. They were going to come out and they were going to run a really fast offense. They're going to rush the referee, get back to that service line, forcing the Wildcats to get ready a little bit quicker and not have time to chat about it.
May serves Reagan, it's an overpass. JT goes up and hits it hard. Aguirre comes up with it, set to the outside. Reagan tosses it off the block, and that's another point for Thomas Worthington.
Wildcats all over the floor, rolling over each other. Doesn't seem to be any injuries, actually more smiles and laughing about it. So it seems like everything's okay.
Reagan, Broby, right back to Reagan. Into the block, he tries to keep it alive. It goes over the referee. And if this is 3 games to 5, Thomas Worthington's up 4-0 in the first game. Timeout, St. Ignatius.
Something I talk about with my athletes a lot in a 5-set or a 3rd set situation. If you're in club, you only have 15 points. You have got to come out fighting. It is a battle. You have got to be a warrior on that floor and take advantage of being the first team to 5 points. Once you're to that 5-point mark, be the first team to 10 and really push the energy.
The down official goes over to say something to one of the coaches of Thomas Worthington. Whatever he said, the coach received it. Thomas Worthington out of the huddle and back onto the floor already Still with 20 seconds before the timeout is over. Noah May ready to go. Here comes St. Ignatius. Noah May ready to serve it again. He served 3 in a row. Can he get 4? He skips forward. Serves Aguirre. Broby, quick one. Pushed across by Van Ginkel. Bumper. Tight. JT sends it across. Broby. Aguirre with the second ball. Reagan. Received in the back. Ondo, back set. Broby comes up with it. Is it going to stay in play? It is. Ondo, quick one. Johnson off the arm of Aguirre.
That's that quick tempo. Keep setting the middle. Deliver a little bit faster ball to the outside pin, forcing the blockers to have to make decisions and have to go quick and fast.
5-0, Thomas Worthington. Can they reverse sweep and win a championship? Aguirre, Broby, Jack Reagan down the line. Noah May keeps it alive. Across to Schaefer. Broby back outside to Schaefer. The lefty swings off the touch. Set to the backside. Dink across. Reagan sends it high. Broby right back to him. Into the block. Off of Reagan's hands. 6-0, Thomas Worthington.
The Cardinals knew that the Wildcats were going to rely on Reagan to win this for them. He has received quite a few balls in this fifth set and hasn't been able to convert it into a point because the Cardinals are right there blocking him.
May serves Reagan again. Broby, back row. Rossetti right into the block. Finn Rubin.
Thomas Worthington just putting up a wall in front of anybody who's attacking on the Wildcat side.
7-0. Thomas Worthington. May with a very short one to Reagan. Broby. Reagan off the touch. Johnson keeps it alive, and now JT from well off the net. Into the block. Tossed across. Dug in the back by Buddy. Back set. Cross. Touch. No touch. Out of bounds. It'll be a side out to St. Ignatius. They needed that, did the Wildcats. Jack Reagan to the serving line. Worthington 7, Ignatius 1. High toss. Back row reception. Ondo, back set. Finn. Across. Schaefer. Broby, back row to Reagan. Dug up. Got to keep it alive somehow. And they send it across. Good job by the Cardinals navigating the ceiling. Back set, Schaefer into the block. Second ball, Van Ginkel, and that one's down for St. Ignatius. Good changeup by Van Ginkel, taking the second ball and putting it home.
At the end of the fourth set, we saw Schaefer limping off the court. We were concerned that maybe he was injured because there were some Cardinals that came close to under the net, but it seems he's okay. He's back on the floor and jumping and hitting the ball just fine.
That one bounces off the scoreboard, so close to a free ball. But instead, the point goes to Ignatius, and just as Worthington put up 7 in a row, now St. Ignatius has put up 3 in a row. Jack Reagan continues to serve for the Wildcats. Big toss. And that's received off the side of the arm and out of bounds.
This is what the Wildcats needed, was Jack Reagan consistent from the service line, getting the ball inbounds. He's able to keep himself composed and do that for them now 3 times in a row.
Timeout Cardinals. So each team has taken a timeout. Thomas Worthington's lead has dwindled to 3. First you saw Noah May, now you see Jack Reagan. No service errors. And an opportunity, both teams have to be a little bit tight. There's a lot on the line, and this is it.
Hey, this is not the time to be nervous. This is the time to look at this as fun and exciting and go into battle. And both teams seem to have that on their face, but we see now St. Ignatius is taking those deep breaths, trying to compose themselves and not be worried. We saw them run a quick attack in the middle to Van Ginkel. I think they need to continue to do that and try to take the pressure off of Jack Reagan getting every ball.
So now Reagan has to put it in play once again. They take out Finn. Finn Rubin, I should say, do the Cardinals. 7-4, Thomas Worthington on top. Jack Reagan with the toss and the swing. And McGuire sends it back instead of forward. JT hasn't made many mistakes, but that's one of them, and now his team is only up by 2. Again. Off of JT, goes straight backwards.
Now, I am not the coach of these guys, but I would be extremely proud of Jack Reagan right now. His tendencies throughout this tournament have been inconsistent from the service line, and for him to get these points all in a row, he has really dialed in this game.
And that one's out. Barnes got the dig, but Johnson sent it long, and we are tied at 7.
Which team is going to be the first to 10 points? That's got to be what we watch right now.
7-7, Reagan. Off of JT again. Out of bounds. 8 points in a row for St. Ignatius. Timeout, Cardinals.
It's no mystery that Jack Reagan is a key role in this Wildcats offense, but we probably didn't expect him to be a key role from the service line, and he has really stepped into that and stepped up for his team in this 5th set.
They have scored 8 in a row. Reagan has served 7 in a row. And his team has come back from down 7-0 to leading 8-7 in this 5th and decisive set for the state championship.
When your leader does that for you and steps up, it really takes a load off of you as a fellow teammate. Now you can focus on your job and making sure the team connects on and is running on all cylinders.
Out of the timeout, Reagan is back to the serving line once again. And now we've got a quick coaching move here from the official on the alignment for the Cardinals. 8-7 Ignatius. Reagan to serve once again. Barnes with the reception. Outside, JT off of Reagan. That'll be a point. They break the serve, do the Cardinals, and we are tied at 8.
I think we need to remember that serve reception by Barnes. He nailed that pass. It was perfect, 3 pass right on the net, resulting in J.D. McGuire having 0 blockers on him because St. Ignatius had to stick with Dylan Johnson in the middle.
Samrat with the serve. Rossetti comes up with it outside to Rossetti. Into the block and down. And Ignatius breaks the serve and gets it right back.
Back and forth, back and forth. Right now we're seeing this could be a side-out game, but the team that's going to win is going to be the one that gets a short run. So keeping the ball on the service line is very important.
McGuire serves. Quick one in the middle. It's out. It was Johnson with the swing, but he couldn't keep it in play. St. Ignatius by 2, 10-8. Christian Aguirre. Ando outside. JT. They try to keep it alive, can't do it. Reagan received it, but Overberger couldn't elevate the second ball, and the point goes back to Thomas Worthington. They still trail 10-9, but now they have the serve, and Oliver Marker goes to the serving line. High drama from Pam Evans Smith Arena. Marker with the toss and the serve. Serves Rossetti, it goes right past him. Reagan tries to keep it alive, can't do it, and we are tied at 10.
So now we're in that third short game to 5. 5 points left in your season.
Marker, it's not too big. He gets the ball and he gets a big smile to himself as he looks down at it. Broby, quick one at Overberger, and it's blocked in the middle. Ando is there, as was Johnson.
senior leadership coming from Dylan Johnson, really communicating in the middle and fronting Overberger, making sure that ball doesn't get passed.
11-10, Thomas Worthington. Marker serves Reagan. Broby outside to Rossetti. Down the line and in. Big swing. Found that back corner.
Inbounds, yep, called inbounds, but the Cardinals are upset. They thought it was out of bounds, but it was so fast. We don't have a challenge in high school yet, but in the collegiate world, they could challenge that because, yes, these refs are human, and it is fast.
Swiatkowski with the serve. There's a touch, and that's a point for Buddy and the Cardinals. They lead 12-11, and more importantly, probably break the serve. Drew Barnes to the serving line for the Cardinals. Barnes serves Reagan. Broby to the outside. Rossetti dug up by McGuire. Ondo outside. Buddy, it's down. Point Cardinals. 13-11. Timeout Ignatius. Now both teams have taken all their timeouts. You can hear the crowd in the background. Both sets of crowds very excited. Though you got to be honest, the Worthington crowd is feeling it a little bit more at the moment after rattling off two quick ones.
So the Wildcats have Andrew Broby in the front row. Okay, so the Cardinals have been taking advantage of that all match, right? But one more side out, and Jack Reagan's in the front row. And so this could change real quick. But the serving from the Cardinals side has been very consistent, and they have really been taking advantage of serving those seams and getting the Wildcats out of system.
The Wildcats are out there. Here come the Cardinals. Drew Barnes back to the serving line, gets the volleyball. The Cardinals need two. They are going to be hard-fought points, no doubt. Barnes with a toss. He serves Reagan. Broby outside. Rossetti off of Barnes. Point Ignatius. And they get the serve back, trailing by one, 13-12.
That pass was on the mark, perfect, up to Broby. He had multiple options delivering that ball out to Rossetti, who is now back to serve.
Rossetti serves. Ondo back out to Buddy. Too strong. And we are tied at 13.
The winner must win by 2 points. Moving forward from this.
Ondo, Buddy, gonna be tight at the net. Aguirre, back row, Rossetti. Good dig, tight to the net. Another joust one, but into the net is Thomas Worthington. Ondo, and now St. Ignatius is 1 point away. 14-13, Wildcats lead. Match point for Rossetti and the Wildcats. Ondo, Buddy, out of bounds, off the block. The point comes to the Cardinals, as does the serve, tied at 14.
So again, we have to win by 2 points. We're in this do scenario. We've got Jack Reagan in the front row for the Wildcats. I expect the ball to go to him. Now pay attention, because Broby is also front row. So if the ball goes over, those Cardinals are going to capitalize on him on the outside pin.
Reagan into the block. Swiatkowski comes up with the coverage. There's a big one across, and it's in. Reagan inside the line. St. Ignatius gets the ball back, and it is match point once again. Will Overberger to serve championship point. Barnes with a bump. Buddy sends it across. It's out of bounds. And the champions of the OHSAA Division I boys volleyball are the Wildcats of St. Ignatius High School. A tremendous effort by both teams. But the Wildcats were able to get it done 16-14 in set number 5 to win this one 3-2. Holy cow.
Tremendous effort by both teams to come back down 2-0 in sets, and Thomas Worthington to come back and battle in a 5th set all the way to 16-14. They never gave up. They worked together, stuck to their cardinal standard. Despite the loss, you have got to throw props their way for the effort that they brought today. St. Ignatius, since last year, has been dreaming about this moment, but not even dreaming, but working hard to do well, and brought it. Jack Reagan has to be given props for being able to go back to that service line, deliver the balls that he did in that 5th set, despite his tendencies to make a few errors.
Jack Reagan, his team was down 7-0 when he got the ball to serve, and he served 8 in a row. 7 in a row to put his team up 8-1 or 8-7.
That is mental toughness, friends. Mental toughness is key in the sport of volleyball, in sport in general, and in life. Props to Jack Reagan.
So we're going to stay right here, but Jackie and I are going to stop talking so you can hear the presentation of the medals and the trophies to these two teams, both worthy competitors who treated us to an absolute gem of a volleyball match this afternoon. Thomas Worthington huddled up. I'm sure for some there are no words. What do you say after you've poured yourself out in a situation like that? And for Ignatius, team that came so close a year ago, losing to St. Xavier in the championship, now they are the champions in Division I of the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Both teams are going to go home with trophies for their trophy cases. Each individual man will receive a medal for his personal self. Both teams should leave here with their heads held high. What a phenomenal season for these guys, for the staff. Brian Lawless and his squad of 7 team members on his bench gave it their best all the way to the last point.
25-17, 25-23, 17-25, 20-25, 16-14. The final score, 3-2. St. Ignatius gets the victory over Thomas Worthington, and now we turn it over to the public address announcement.